Nice to meet you, Sabrina and Kingsley. Have fun. Habt viel Spaß zusammen.
Good morning, everyone. GM. Hello, Sabrina. Good morning. Can you hear me? Hello, good morning. GM, everybody. GM Andre, GM Sabrina, and also GM Assam of Web3.
Good morning, Sabrina and Kingsley. Have fun.
Hello, Sabrina. It's good to have you in the house. How are you doing today?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you in GM.
Awesome. Good morning, guys. Really nice to meet you all, sort of.
Yeah. How's the weather over there? How's Web3 treating you this morning? So we want to start proper before we begin. I would love to introduce us to our special guest today, Sabrina. Welcome. Please, before we start, I would like you to briefly, tell us about yourself, a bit about your journey, and also, what first drew you into crypto and how you evolve into helping founders today. Sabrina, can you hear me? Because I'm not hearing you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I had to log on again. I don't know what was wrong. Maybe it's my earphones or something. Apologies. So yeah, I mean, happy to share how I started in crypto. I mean, my background is in traditional finance and helping basically businesses getting fixed because I have helped basically companies that are close to insolvency fix their operations, fix their revenue, fix their cost basis. So always high intensity, lots of work with external banks and private equities and investors of all kinds, lots of lawyers involved, lots of number crunching. And I mean, I have been doing this for 15 years, but I stumbled across crypto, I think the first time must have been in like 2015. Then 2017, I was looking into Bitcoin. I didn't buy, obviously, should have, obviously. And then about 4 years ago, a friend of mine said I should look into NFTs. And well, I think since then I have not stopped caring about crypto, reading about crypto, getting involved in crypto. I did, yeah.
All right, good morning. Sorry for that little break in communication. So I was asking you to briefly introduce yourself and tell us how you get into Web3.
Yeah. I got into crypto about 4 years ago. I heard about NFTs, started looking into my first community moderator jobs and invested in a couple of first projects and stuff. I didn't invest too much, luckily, because I obviously got in at the top of the cycle of last cycle. But then I started speaking to founders and I realized they have similar problems like what I have been solving for the last 15 years, and started working with my first client last year. And yeah, have had several clients, and I'm basically helping them now get to product market fit and get their first client traction for their Web3 projects. So I'm basically helping them fix the problems based on what I have learned the last 15 years.
Wow, that's beautiful. 4 years in crypto sounds really, 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 really amazing. So how do you see the crypto cycle within these 4 years?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, I know everyone has been saying we will sort of top in Q4. And I personally think we have topped already in October. So what I see across the board is that at least the people who have been very consistent and good with predicting where we are in the cycle have said we have topped in October. Now, the question is, crypto is very liquidity driven. So if the Federal Reserve starts quantitative easing anyway, anytime next year, for whatever reason, I think we will see another all-time high. So I don't think we have this exact 4-year cycle anymore that we had in the past. So it's sort of driven by external factors now and not just the 4-year cycle.
Yeah, well said actually. Let's just hope for a bullish year ahead. All right, so moving on, from your experience, the 4 years, the 15 years experience, what do you think are the biggest challenges that Web3 founders are currently facing in the product market fit?
Yeah, what I see basically everyone doing is that most people who come in the space, and I was the same, right? I'm not saying I know everything better, but I have learned to solve a lot of problems from a different
Yeah.
perspective, is that
Okay.
people have this really, really good idea. And all the ideas that I talk to founders, I just spoke to one yesterday, and I mean, the idea is awesome. And he basically then said, yeah, he has been building the tool, the platform behind this for, I think, 6 years or so. But the problem is that when you go straight from your idea that you have to, okay, I'm now going to build this product, tool, platform, app, whatever, but you skip the part in between, and most people actually skip this part, unfortunately, because they don't know they have to go through this, is the validation part, where you basically look at where's the biggest opportunity in the market that I want to go in, who are my competitors, how are basically my clients that I want to serve already solving their problems. And if you don't know this, you're basically building something and you're building blind. It's like flying, I don't know, I could compare it to flying a plane, but you're flying blind. So you might as well end up on a beach, but you can also crash against a mountain if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the data to actually back up your decision and your next steps. This is not going to work. So most founders actually basically miss this part in between their idea and actually building something that they should be building for their clients, and that's where I help them.
All right, that's great. That's great. But most of the founders out there, sometimes we have founders that are technical, they have the idea of coding and the likes of it. I also have the idealistic founder, the founder that just have just the idea, they have the idea, but they don't have this knowledge of coding. So
Yep.
basically, sometimes it's kind of difficult, to implement that idea, because most sometimes founders do come up with those challenges. They have this idea, but implementing the idea becomes a big challenge for them. So, what do you think about such scenarios?
Yeah, that's true. Most of the people have by nature either one talent in, business development and seeing patterns and these kind of things, or they are basically coders. I would call them like the hackers in the space. And I find the ideal setup is someone who's really good at business plus someone who's really good at coding, so they can sit in the back and actually build the business, but it has to work together. So I mean, there's always people out there looking for co-founders, or if you are a business person, you can still get a developer to actually build what you want to build. So I think there are workarounds around this, but I think the ideal founder team for me is always a business person and a tech person. And if you don't have this already, you can either go find a co-founder, or you can unfortunately have to pay for example, for a developer if you're a business person, to help you code what you want to build. But the problem is that people don't often build stuff without having validated first, which often costs a lot more money than it should, and also costs them a lot of time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you. Validation is very important, is very key as far as project building is concerned. All right, so what's one common mistake you see in new founders, the newbie founders? What's that one common mistake you see them make when launching Web3 projects, and how do you think it can be avoided?
Yeah, I mean, sort of coming back to what I said earlier, it's like they don't know that they have to validate their idea. I didn't know this when I started my first business, so I made this mistake as well. What you don't know, you don't know. So you basically do something, you think you're doing everything right, and you basically realize that something's not working. And what I think most people don't understand is that there's people out there who have gone through this process before, um, and who actually can help you get on the right path and show you what is missing. So whether it's getting a sales coach, someone to help with product market fit, someone to help with your coding skills, and everything that is out there, you can learn it. Sometimes you just have to realize what's missing to get to where you want to. So you need to understand where your gaps are, and then you have to go out there and find someone who can help you fill those gaps. And sometimes all you need is a book, sometimes it's more than that, sometimes you need coaching. But and I think that's the beauty of being a founder. It's like you never stop learning, because there's always something you can learn to help you grow as a person and also help you basically bring your project to the next level. And I think this growth path is really cool to see. I mean, sometimes when I look back at how I started 4 years ago, I was like, I had no idea, and now I have all these things that I see, and things that I and clients that I work with, those projects that I see evolve, and that's really, really cool, I think.
All right, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You made mention of a point. Founders learning, new founders learning, open to learning. But sometimes we have founders who feel they know it all. ITK. They feel they know it all. They just feel
Yeah.
they are the textbook itself. They are the internet itself. So they just have this assumption they know it all, and it's kind of difficult correcting such you know.
Oh, trust me, I talked to them as well
Okay.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nice to them, and I mean, here's the thing, right? So some people know they have a problem, and sometimes they go look for the wrong solution. And I mean, I
Okay.
recently had a very, I would say, awkward conversation with someone on LinkedIn, and I basically said, "Hey, do you guys think? I mean, I like what you're building, and I mean, and I was like, do you think you guys have product market fit already? Because I didn't see any traction, any client products, any testimonials, whatever, anything that would indicate any traction." He was like, "Of course." I mean, he really said that, and he meant it. He said, "Of course, we have product market fit because our project just got acquired by Coinbase, which proves product market fit." And here's the thing: some people don't know what their problem is, and
Okay.
and then I tried to explain to him that this is not product market fit. And he was like, this is a very awkward and useless conversation. I was like, okay, I mean, if you don't understand what your problem is and you think you need funding now, because he was looking for funding, I was like, that's not your problem. And I mean, sometimes you have to let people figure out that their pain, until their pain is so big that their problem is somewhere else, because everything that they have tried isn't going to take them any further, so that they realize, okay, my problem is obviously somewhere else. And I trust me, I have spoken to lots of founders, and it's less the technical people, actually. It's more the people who are older, like in their end of 40s, 50s, whatever, who think they have done it all, know it all, who are not willing to take external advice. And
Okay.
and then they keep working in the same direction. And one of my the people I actually started working with very early is similar to that. He's very experienced in what he does in his media industry and everything, but he's not willing to accept that he's actually working in the wrong direction. He thinks he needs to sell his product B2B, when from an outside perspective and someone who's seen a bit more, I keep telling him, you need to start talking to your end customers, the people who are actually using the tool, and then you can convince B2B. But he keeps going B2B, B2B. And it's just, I mean, he's not making the traction that he wants. But if he's not listening, I mean, I let him do whatever he wants until he realizes, okay, this isn't gonna bring me the progress that I want. So yeah, I think stubbornness and ignorance and thinking I know it all does slow down many founders more than they think. And I mean, I've been in this business for many years, but actually sales has always been a bit of an issue for me. And I got myself a sales coach a while back, and he's like 10-20 years younger than me, but he's really good at what he does. So I don't care if he gives me the knowledge that I don't have, but I need to take the next steps. I'm more than open to actually take that. So I think openness to, getting advice from other people is something that everyone across the space can learn, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful actually. I stumbled upon a founder once, and I was talking to the founder, and she was like, she's a developer herself, so they are building a product. And I asked her, okay, so what about your community? She said, what do we need a community for? And I had to stop for a while and ask myself, how do you build a product without a community? So who is going to test
Yeah.
your product? Is it the investors? Obviously, it's going to be the project, the community, because they are the one who gonna use the product.
Yeah, I mean, that's also something I have seen people do, and I get why it seems like a shortcut, but with everything in life and in business, I'm very sorry to tell you there are no shortcuts. If you want to do this properly and build a business and yourself as a leader in this community, you have to take things step by step. And I mean, if you want to build a community, you have to really build a community by making sure that you have the right people in your community, and not the people who just are there for a sticker contest or a Zelly sprint, or who want just like a small airdrop or something. You need to build a community who understands what you're building and who is eventually willing to try and use it and give you valuable feedback from a client perspective. And I mean, the founder I mentioned earlier made this mistake as well. So they spend a lot of money on all these like short term, getting their community filled up and running. But obviously that's not useful. It's like, yeah, this is the type of hype marketing that I find is very negative actually for the space. I mean, yeah, there is some merit to it, but it's not going to help you long term if you don't build the foundation for your business right.
All right, thank you very much. So let's talk about traction for a bit.
Yes.
Um, what are the practical steps you think Web3 founders can take to build their first 100 followers, or maybe their first 100 consistent customer?
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I guide my clients through all the time.
Okay.
And if they're willing to work with me, one of them just said last to me, this is an absolute game changer what we're doing here. So what I do is basically I help them look at the market and the competition in a way that it's actually valuable. It's not just so that you have some data so you can show it to investors, but actually to understand where is the biggest opportunity in the market and who is the best client you can sell your product to. And these are the kind of people you need to find. And you can find them either by, I find LinkedIn really, really helpful, for example. Instagram works as well. Twitter doesn't work as well for me from a business perspective, funny enough. And then, start talking to people and attend conferences is helpful, but I think doing it from a desktop is actually more helpful. And obviously putting yourself out there on social media so that people actually trust you and know who you are and know what you're building. It's a lot of work at the beginning, a lot of groundwork, but it actually helps people trust you, because that's, I think, one of the key things why people are still sort of careful when it comes to outreach and stuff. And you need to build a system that you can use later on to validate your product constantly. So what you do is once you have your first 10, 20 clients, you basically get them to test your product, and then you collect their feedback in a structured way. When I say structured, I mean you basically collect everything positive that they say and use that for marketing, use it for testimonials, use it to basically reframe your content, reframe your website, basically use the exact words that they are saying to describe your product. The positive things always goes into marketing. The negative things that they say, or constructive things that they are missing, things that they didn't understand, things that they didn't like, these are the things you need to actually refine your product further. And you need to constantly keep asking for feedback. And if it's people who really care and who really are your target client and who have this pain that you're solving, you will be able to get this feedback. And this way, if you basically implement this into your business processes, you have already built, I find, the most important process in your business that you will ever build. Everything else follows, but this is the absolute core foundation. And as soon as you have this machine up and running, this is what we call a flywheel in the end. The more feedback you're collecting, the better your product gets, and the better and the more marketing messages you can put out there to actually attract more clients. And this is how it grows eventually over proportionally.
All right. That's very nice. That's nice. Building systems, great, follow up, and also the constructive critics from the customer is very important for project building. All right. So are there any specific tools, metrics or framework you can recommend for tracking early tractions? For example, they want to get feedback, a founder wants to get feedback from the customer. Is there any tools you recommend?
Yeah, I know that, Web3 people are very techy, and I know there's lots of really, really cool tools out there that people can try. Especially at the beginning, when you actually do things from the bottom and the foundation, I use a very, very simple tool, and that's called Excel. Unfortunately, I'm very basic when it comes to that.
Okay.
It's because I find it's not so much about the fancy tool that you're using. It's more about understanding the framework. Why are you doing what you're doing? And then doing
Okay.
it over and over and over again to make sure you get this data. Everything that you do in business, especially at the beginning, is collecting data. And you need to collect this data from the right people, and you need to use the data properly. Because if you start, for example, asking, I don't know, 4 or 5 different types of people, your data will not work for you. It doesn't tell you what you need to know. And if you only keep asking for for positive feedback, you will only get positive feedback. But you can put this in marketing. But if people don't like your product or parts of your product, they will not come back and use it. So that's one of the things I'm currently working on with a client. They have already, he said he basically has 100 clients for his platform, but when he goes in and they check it, they basically click on the platform once, they try it, and then they never come back. And I was like, well, that's not really clients. And now we are basically reworking the entire foundation for his business, so he can build the next iteration of his MVP so well that people actually use it because it solves a problem for them. But for that, you need to understand whom to ask and what to ask them and how to use this feedback. And I mean, I'm sure there's other options to use to actually have a tool, but it's more about the framework. I mean, if you use a pen and paper, that's fine too. If you use Excel, that's fine too. If you have a better tool, fine with me, but you need to understand whom to ask and what to ask them and how to use that feedback. So it's more about the framework and not so much the tools, at least for me.
All right, that's beautiful. Whom to ask, what to ask. All right, I think I will call that the three W's of
Of product market fit, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I think I've learned something new today. All right.
Awesome, appreciate it.
Moving forward, sometimes, most especially the newbie founders, they tend to get lost between building hype and
Yeah.
delivering real value to keep users engaged. Sometimes in the course of marketing or in the course of building a project, and then when the hype comes up, they get lost in in the hype, in the hype building, and forget the important aspect of bringing value or delivering real value. So how do you think founders can balance building hype and also delivering real value to users?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is with everything in life, you can't have everything at the same time or at once.
Mhm.
So founders need to understand in which phase of the business building they currently are. So if you just have an idea and don't know what to do next, you need to understand that you need to move into the validation phase eventually. You have this one idea, and then you have to validate this one idea. And then once you have it validated, you can build it, and then you can test it. And everything that has to do with marketing and sales and hype marketing is you do that afterwards. You don't do that after, oh, I have this really cool idea, and then I build something, and then, oh, I have another idea, I might actually add another feature, and then you talk to random people, your grandma, whatever, and they say, oh, this would be cool, or this would be cool, and you build this on top, and then you basically start hype marketing, and you have all these whatever Sally sprints and all these, I don't know, putting lots of money, and you launch a token because you think you have to launch a token, but you don't have any real business, real value, real foundation underneath this entire construct that you have built. And then you realize, okay, something's missing, something's not working, and you don't know what it is. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge for founders, that they don't understand that they have to go through different phases, and you can't start hype marketing just because you have, I don't know, one new feature or something. That's not how it works, unfortunately. And I think that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm trying to help founders actually understand where they are in the process, and when to do what is, I think, a key thing that people need to understand, and that the most important part or the most important element in their business is always their client, and not a token launch or the next 10 cool features. It's always, who is the client and what does he need or what does he want? And understanding that makes a huge difference. And if people know and understand how to use that in a structured way, building businesses becomes a lot easier.
All right. That's great. That's great. Validation, very, very important in. All right. So moving forward, what's that one special advice you would love to give to founders building in Web3 today?
Yeah.
Considering market factors and everything.
Yeah. Well, don't launch a token just because you think you have to launch a token. And no, I
Wow.
mean, it's sort of wrapping up everything that I just said or tried to explain. It's like, understand what's the most important thing in your business, and that's always your client. And
Okay.
understand where you are on your journey as a founder, and make sure that you basically move from one phase to the other. And if you're stuck with something, it's totally okay to actually look for help and get external support. Sometimes it's this external view and external guidance that helps you take your business and yourself to the next level that you need to actually have, so you can actually build something that's real.
All right. That's nice. That's a beautiful and honest advice to give out to founders. So, okay, for listeners and anyone who might, listen to the space later, and they might want to connect with you or learn one or two, what's the best way to reach out to you or follow your work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always checking either my DMs on Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I'm sorry, or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm also
It's
on
all good.
LinkedIn. Huh? What's that?
I say it's all good. Anyone you feel like calling it.
I'm very old school. It's Twitter, whatever.
All right, all right.
Yeah, no, it's either. I mean, I'm either active on Twitter. I mean, during the day, LinkedIn works really well as well for me, or Instagram. So you find me on Sabrina Schaffer and on LinkedIn, or on here as Sabrina ULC. ULC stands for Unconventional Leaders Community because that's what I'm building, and
Okay.
Instagram is also Sabrina ULC. And you can also, I mean, drop me a DM. We can just chat on either Telegram as well, or hop on a call and talk about your project and see where you're stuck. Because I know, I mean, the market isn't going to be nice to us. I think the next couple of months or weeks. I don't know for how long this, bear phase is going to last this time. But we should actually see it as an opportunity to build real businesses. And I mean, that's, I think, what this entire space needs to evolve over time.
All right, thank you very much. I think I'm wrapping it up, but before I hang up, we've talked a lot. We talked about validations. We talked about some special W's. You know, who to talk to, whom, and all those. We've also talked about validation, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
But outside all this, I just want to ask one funny question. If it wasn't Web3, yeah, if it wasn't Web3, what do you think you could be doing right now? Like outside Web3, let's say there is no Web3. So, you know,
So there's a lot of I've actually thought about this question for a long time, and I think it's a really good question. The funny thing is
okay.
my husband a while back, I think a year or two ago, asked me, so if this whole crypto thing doesn't work out, what are you doing then? I was like, well, I don't know. I've always wanted to drive a train. I don't know. So yeah, driving a train sounds like fun. Or I don't know. I've always wanted to get a dog, so that's the next thing on my list. So maybe I'll become a dog trainer, or I would become a dog trainer or something. I don't know yet.
Oh, that's great. It seems you're not scared of dogs.
No, not yet. That might change once I have a dog.
Okay.
But yeah. What
All
about you,
right.
though?
Well, outside Web3, that's well a bit because growing up, I'm in the university studying to
Yeah,
be a
cool.
pharmacist. Yeah, studying to
Oh,
be a
nice.
pharmacist.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So outside Web3, after when I talk to people and they like, Kingsley, what are you doing? What are you doing? I say, I work in Web3. I say, wow, you work in Web3. I thought you are into computer or something else. So it's a bit funny when I tell somebody I'm studying to do pharmacy or I'm working Web3. Everyone just expects, I
Yeah,
love, I love pressing, my devices and all. So you just assume that anything techie,
yeah.
pressing computer, it's where I would really love to be.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, here's the funny thing, right? I tried to learn coding when I was at school and at university, and after a while, I just had to be honest to myself and realize that this is not what I'm good at. I was always interested in it, and I really admire people who can code really well and stuff. But I mean, I am totally useless when it comes to
Yeah,
coding.
coding is a lot of work actually because
Yeah,
I
but as
remember there
simple
was
as it
once
sounds,
I
right?
started learning coding. Yeah, I started learning coding. I learned HTML, and then when I started CSS, I got confused and I just take a break.
Yeah, yeah. Let's stick to what we're good at.
Yeah. Let's see what we're good at. I appreciate it. All
No
right, thank
problem.
you very much once again. It was beautiful having this Ama talk with Sabrina, leadership mentor for Web3 founders. I hope we meet again,
Yes,
along the
absolutely.
line to discuss more. It was beautiful learning from you. To all founders who listen to this space, validation is very important and always know your three W's rather. I hope you mind reminding us the three W's again, please. Very important.
Yeah, that's whom to basically who your client is, where you are
Okay.
on your journey. And I mean, if you don't know where you are on a journey or what to do next, try and get help, because there's people out there doing this and helping you. And it actually really does help. It has helped me as well. And I know that for others, it's a game changer too. So if you're stuck, go find someone who can help you.
All right, that's
Love
perfect.
it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. To come your way again, it's
Yes,
bye bye for
you
now.
too.
Have a nice
Yes,
day.
you too. Bye.
Bye.